Good evening. I'd like to call to order the September 29th, 2020 school board meeting. This evening, Dr. Calderon, you have the invocation and pledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, some of you may or may not know, but today is a very important day, at least for me. It's National Coffee Day. And this is my favorite time of year with coffee because I'm a pumpkin spice addict. So I'm in a very good mood about that. But what that did was to try to have me think about what to talk about during the invocation this evening. And it reminded me of the best-selling book, The Coffee Bean, by John Gordon and Damon West. It's a fable that teaches readers how to transform their environment, overcome challenges, and create positive change. And I really feel like that's what Seminole County Public Schools does each and every day. Life is often difficult. Don't we know it during these trying times? It can be harsh, stressful, and feel like a pot of boiling hot water. The environments we find ourselves in can change, weaken, or harden us, and test who we truly are. We can be like the carrot that weakens in the pot of boiling water, or like the egg that hardens. Or we can be like the coffee bean and discover the power inside us to transform our environment. We need to remember this lesson for the rest of our lives. Wherever you go and whatever you do, remember you're a coffee bean, and you have the power to transform any environment you're in. No matter how hard things get or how hopeless things look, don't give up. Realize we don't create our world from the outside in. We create and transform it from the inside out. If you think you're a carrot, you will believe the power and forces outside of you are more powerful than who you are on the inside, and you will become weaker. If you think you're the egg, you will believe the negativity in this world and have the power to harden your heart and cause you to become negative like the world. But if you know you're a coffee bean, you will not allow the outside world to impact you. You will know that the power inside of you is greater than the forces outside you, and with this insight, you will transform your environment and world from the inside out. The power is on the inside, so let's all go out and be that coffee bean. If you'd please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Calderon.
You're welcome.
Let the record reflect that all school board members, school board attorneys, superintendent, and school board clerk are in attendance this evening. I would like to acknowledge some folks. Appreciate seeing many teachers here tonight. Jennifer DeVine from Winter Springs High School, Bridget Dykus from Winter Springs High School, Rachel Russell from Wicklow Elementary as a PTA or SAC rep, Heather Callahan from Sterling Park Elementary, Janine Copeland from Sterling Park Elementary, Catherine Watley from Seminole High 9th grade center, PTA or SAC rep, Joshua Goldstein from Lake Orienta Elementary, and Dr. Wilfredo Nieves, ESSS, and Business Advisory Board rep. Thank you for being here. Dr. Gifford, do you have any agenda modifications?
I have one, Madam Chair. The agenda for good cause is marked on the electronic agenda by a green flag named addendum item.
Thank you. School board members, roll call order tonight will be Vice Chair Pennock, Member Calderon, Member Sanchez, Member Krause, and then myself. Vice Chair Pennock?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Dr. Calderon?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Member Sanchez?
No modifications.
Thank you. Member Krause?
No modifications. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5J, invitation to negotiate. I'm going to bring that up. Is there a motion to approve the outline?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We have no presentation or recognitions tonight. We have no school district highlights, and we do not have a focus on student achievement. So next on our agenda will be public input, and I do have some. So Vice Chair, if you'll read the statement, please.
The public input segment of this meeting is provided for the purpose of permitting persons to present specific matters to the board for its consideration and action or referral to the superintendent and his staff. The public input segment of this meeting is not open to presentation of campaign issues by political candidates, matters involving student disciplinary action, pending employee disciplinary matters, or pending litigation. Each individual member of the public is limited to 3 minutes. A designated group representative may have up to 6 minutes. If you would step up to the podium, please, and not touch the podium, but speak into the speaker bar, it will pick you up loud and clear.
Thank you. So if the first speaker will be Francine Barnhill, followed by Dan Smith. Mr. Smith, when you speak, you'll have 6 minutes.
All right, please do not touch the podium. I'll put my phone down. Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I totally appreciate you and your time. Thank you, Christy. I'm here because I'm concerned about the connect versus the face-to-face issues that we're having in our schools and with the students. I recorded, obviously you can't see the student on Connect. Happy to share with you, I'll send it to you privately, just so you can have the experience that we're actually having and the amount of work that goes into during a class time to try and physically, verbally connect with these students who are not connecting. They are not getting the same education. They are not getting the same as the face-to-face, and now the face-to-face are not getting the same education either, because we're so busy trying to get these students to respond, to be a part of the class, to give them the same academic programs that we're having to give to face-to-face, that it's just consuming the time. And then to sit there and turn around and apologize to the face-to-face. I had a student today who actually got sick of it, and he goes, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you guys on Connect that you're wasting our time. He went off on the Connect students, basically, because he was just fed up. He's sick of it. He's sick of hearing me call someone's name 10 times, and then when I unmute them, I have to listen to their whole family's household. It's very frustrating. On top of that, the frustration of having to do lesson plans for the Connect, because it's not the same, because I don't think that this program that you thought of really took into consideration performance-based classes. It didn't take into consideration the music. It didn't take into consideration course. It didn't take into consideration theater. I think it might be a little bit easier for science and for math, and I'm not negating those. What I'm saying about those, it may be a little bit easier to do that than it is to get a performance-based class to give them the same experience. So instead of trying to appease everybody in our county so that they like you, sometimes we have to make hard decisions, and we have to say that this doesn't work and find out how and what we can do to make this work. So I'm just bringing that to you as our frustration as a teacher. I spend countless hours. I'm missing time with my family. I'm here tonight. I commute over 45 minutes to about an hour and 10 each day just to go to work and go home. So my days are long. I don't leave work until after 4:30, almost every day. I would have never chosen to have 7 classes if I knew that this was gonna be like this year. I love the students, I love my job, I enjoy it. I do say it is one of the hardest jobs I've ever had, but I absolutely love it. I'm a people person. I'm there to serve these children and to give them the best education, whether it is math, science, and theater, or music, whatever it may be. So I just think this needs to be revisited for the second semester.
Would you please tell us what you teach and what grade level, please?
I teach theater, 9 through 12 at Seminole High.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Smith? And if Jennifer DeVine could be the next speaker at the other podium.
Sorry. I'll see how it goes. All right, thank you. Good evening. My name is Dan Smith. I am a resident of Seminole County and an employee of Seminole County Public Schools since 2002. I'm a teacher presently, and I am the president of Seminole Education Association. I'm speaking for Seminole's teachers and I want to address the current state of our teachers' workload. The burden that is placed on the teachers this year is, I had difficulty just getting the word. Excessive doesn't do it justice, but it's beyond excessive. Our teachers are salary employed, and historically they work 40, 55 hours a week anyway. They work in June and July without compensation, and they're used to this. They complain very little about this stuff. But this year, it's just going off the rails. Our teachers love their students, and they love educating, and they're going to continue to do it every day, every year, until this year. With only 6 weeks old, it's just killing them. The workload is so excessive that our teachers are pretty much working 7 days a week in order to almost finish the job. Many of them can't finish it. They just don't have it. It now goes into their giving up sleep time. In the summer, things were going very well. I appreciate the district and what the school board had done. It's very compassionate and understanding when it came to accommodating the teachers that we have with health concerns and getting them into the right places. They were given remote options with the understanding that the Connect students would be remote through the first 9 weeks and that the Seminole County virtual are going to remain through the first semester. But unfortunately, by the second week, with parent choice driving the decisions, it just didn't happen. The wheels fell off the train at that point. Students were given limitless transition back for remote learning face-to-face, and that caused any chance of continuing social distance to end. With maybe a few elementary classes, that might be it, but I've been in the secondary, and forget social distancing. It's closer than it was last year, and we didn't have a pandemic. And they're going to continue to grow. Now, I did address this twice with the district since returning the first time on August 27th, and I was asked to wait till the end of the next week so they could hire teachers in level, and it was a reasonable request. That any year, it's a reasonable request to do so. But it didn't happen, and on September 10th, I asked again and was told that they're working on it and the positions were posted, and then it just hasn't happened yet. These demands that are placed on them just continue to increase the workload. And it's different from school to school. Our Seminole Connect students have very few rules and requirements, and this results in our Seminole Connect students not turning in work and many of them being behind or possibly failing their class. The school leaderships are requiring the teachers to call every one of the students when they're missing assignments, and that can come up to an additional 50 to 70 calls per week. And the amount is excessive. In the past month, our teachers had to endure the news of the governor's pay plan to start for the starting teacher pay. I've been in public education for 27 years, and this pay plan may possibly be one of the most insulting ideas that have ever come towards public school teachers. But it was the governor's mission by raising the beginning teacher pay that he would solve the teacher shortage in Florida. And I think you guys know that our teachers aren't leaving because of pay, okay? Although many veteran teachers may leave after this year because of pay. They're leaving because of the working conditions. They're leaving because they're not being treated with respect in the workplace. And this is something you can fix, and it's not going to cost you a cent. It's not going to cost you a cent. Help them out with their workload, listen to them, treat them with respect in the workplace, and it's not going to cost you a cent. So now we're looking at 5,000 students returning in the middle of October. And I would like to know what the plan is. Do you have a plan to get these in, or are you simply just going to put them back into and just keep increasing the class size? I'm really hoping that's not the case. Now, in the past 5 weeks, the principals have told me that they want to keep the educational practice of keeping the teachers with the same students, but I would ask you that that's probably not going to work out. You may have to just start scheduling all over again so we don't have excessive amounts in there. Certainly, there are ways to do it, and I don't do this. I'm a classroom teacher, okay? I don't run a school. I don't know how it's done, so it's easy for me to sit here and tell you what I think you should do. But for practical purposes, I hope that you're going to address and give the teachers a plan of how you're going to transition these in and what you're going to do to help alleviate their workload. The classes are larger than they were last year before the pandemic in many cases, and it's going to be very hard to have that to be a safe piece in there. So, finally, the governor and the commissioner who are putting the dictation aren't educators, and you guys are educators, and you're supposed to you want to keep this, and you want to keep education in here and not get caught up with the overreach coming out from Tallahassee. And I would like to work with you and help come to some type of way to alleviate the load that's putting on our teachers and all the rest of the Seminole County family. But we need help and we need support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. After Jennifer, Larissa Hardesty.
Hello, my name is Jennifer DeVine, and I teach at Winter Springs High School. Your teachers are drowning. I have taught for 14 years, and I have never experienced the amount of workload I am right now. And when I speak to other employees, it becomes overwhelmingly clear that all of us are in the same boat. Last week alone, I put in 76 hours. 76 hours, and this is ongoing. This is a weekly amount of hours that I put in. That's 41 hours over the 35 I am contracted to work. And I am not alone. Most teachers and guidance counselors I know are doing more than those hours. Requiring teachers to teach both Connect and face-to-face is not a sustainable model because we can't provide equitable instruction to both sets of students unless we kill ourselves creating 2 sets of lesson plans for each group or coming up with a hybrid plan that's entirely new. That's curriculum revision. The district has released professional developments to assist, but when would you like us to take those? Because right now the only breaks I get during the day are to pee, if I get that, to drive and to sleep. If I'm not doing one of those 3 things, I'm working. I average an hour of 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night if I'm lucky, and I am not alone. The time I used to spend with my daughter, I now spend planning for my students, and even when I do spend time with her, it is not quality time, because I'm thinking of what I need to do next week, or I'm actually planning and not giving her my undivided attention as I should, and I am not alone. Requiring us to teach hybrid has stripped us away of time with our families and the time we need to spend with ourselves, and our time has value. The time of a teacher, the time of your employees has value. We don't need to hear that we're superheroes or thank you so much for all that you do. We need you to recognize and show us that our time has value. It has value to our family, value to our friends, value to our students, value to us. A teacher's time, a counselor's time, a paraprofessional's time, they're all grossly undervalued as is. And now for all of those groups, more responsibility has been added with no increase in salary. I've been told the new teachers will be hired to assist us with some of the course loads. When is that going to happen? Because we need help or we need to be compensated for the time that we are putting in. Because right now I see the following scenarios. 1, the district takes this message to heart and pays employees what they deserve. At the absolute least, we should receive the $15 an hour our contract states teachers should get when assigned to do curriculum revision. I have to revise my curriculum weekly. So do most teachers, because we have been assigned hybrid and Connect face-to-face instruction at the same time. That is curriculum revision. 2, the district takes this message to heart, gives teachers back pay for all the curriculum revision we have been assigned, and hires enough new teachers so no one has to teach a hybrid class. 3, the district does nothing, even though they know exactly how much time we are putting in, because the district is willing to sacrifice the mental and physical health of teachers, counselors, and other employees who are breaking down from exhaustion so we can continue to say that Seminole County is an A+ district. Or 4, the district lets teachers and counselors drop the high standards both you and we have set and work to our 35 hours a week. 35 hours a week will give students a subpar education. You know it, I know it, and every teacher knows it.
Please respectfully wrap up your comments.
Thank you. Our time has value. Our time has value, and the district needs to show us that value to you is not 0.
Thank you. After Larissa, it'll be Donna Shuffler.
My name is Larissa Hardesty, and I teach music at Lake Orienta Elementary. I'm here to speak as both a teacher and as a parent. I teach elementary music, but I have friends at all levels throughout the county. As a parent, I have a senior, a sophomore, and an 8th grader. And I can tell you unequivocally that Connect has severe issues that need to be addressed. The main issue I see both as a teacher and as a parent is time. My colleagues are spending hours and hours and hours and hours of their personal time working online to keep up with the demands of teaching Connect, particularly those who are teaching Connect and face-to-face students synchronously. Many of my friends wanted to be here tonight but couldn't because of their workload. They literally had planned to, but were not able to leave the school on time to get here. They're still there. Let's be very clear. Teaching Connect and face-to-face students is 2 distinct jobs. This is why teachers have to spend so many personal hours to try to catch up. Teachers are having to create content, duplicate hard copy materials digitally, and grade both hard copy and digital work. While I understand that the hope or expectation might have been that it would just be easy to beam students into the classroom and have them participate from home, in reality it is far, far from that simple. The bottom line is that teachers, many, if not most, teaching Connect, particularly those with face-to-face students as well, are spending over 10 hours a day working, plus hours and hours on the weekends. To be clear, their contract is for 7.5 hours of work. If our contracted hours are 7.5, we should be able to complete the vast majority of our work within that time frame. And we are currently farther from that expectation than we have ever been. Teachers are used to working past our contract time a bit. What is happening now is so extreme that it is making long-term, highly effective career educators consider leaving the profession. We cannot afford to lose our most knowledgeable, dedicated teachers. Something has to change. On the student side, the situation is just as dire. My daughter, who is learning via Connect for all but one class, due to severe allergies and asthma, is on the computer for over 10 hours a day, plus 8 to 10 hours on the weekends, trying to keep up with her work. I understand the need to have students log in for the day for attendance and funding purposes, but this means that they are sitting at a computer for 7+ hours and then being assigned hours of homework, which also needs to be completed on the computer. This is not only unhealthy for the students, it is unreasonable. I am not sure when school became something where students attend for 7.5 hours a day and then have 4 hours of work to do at home, but it's not healthy. No one, teachers or students, should be working more than an hour past the school day, period. Do the math. I'll give you an hour and a half of homework just to be nice. That's 9 hours per day, 5 days per week. That's a 45-hour work week. In a pandemic, when all of us are functioning through what is essentially trauma, where is the compassion and grace we were promised and asked to pass along at the beginning of the school year? Remember, these students did not really finish last year. The kindergartners we have are really more like preschoolers. The first graders are really kindergartners, and so on, all the way up to at least middle school, if not high school. Pushing academics and testing and data and assessments and grades just to have a grade to prove that the student was there is the opposite of what we should be doing right now. We need the compassion and grace. We need to back off and remember that we are all still in a pandemic.
Please wrap up your
We are all still
comments.
processing the emotional toll of this unprecedented situation we are in, and we should all be able to complete our work in a reasonable and healthy amount of time. Where that is not happening, changes need to be made immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Duran? Okay, thank you. And after Duran, Katie Canteen, Walla.
Hi, my name is Donna Shuffler, and I'm a teacher at Teague Middle School. I'm also the SCA building representative there, and so when people are struggling or they have something on their mind, they're upset, or they have a problem, they come to me. And this year, Dan asked us to stand up and tell our story. I want to tell their story because it's okay. So a pregnant mother weeping. These are all teachers. A pregnant mother weeping. I mean, shoulders just like this, just weeping during a meeting. This teacher is a very strong individual, and watching her weep was shocking. She was so upset because she was not going to be able to nurse her baby. She would not have time. Mother of 2 young children who now has no time in the morning, evenings, or weekends to raise her children. The whole family is completely stressed. Mother of a baby, no time to nurse her baby. And when she does, she is upset, and her baby has picked up on this and is often fretful, when before he was a very happy baby. Single father of 4 is pushing himself to the edge of his endurance day in and day out. What is this doing to his health? I have never seen teachers so stressed and upset in my 21 years as a teacher in Seminole County. Teachers' children are now the most vulnerable to fail. These are just a few stories about our teachers who need the workload to be lessened. They need the same compassion in this COVID situation that they are asked to give their students. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And after Katie, our final speaker is Janessa Hartman.
Hi, my name is Katie Canteen, Walla, and this is my 12th year teaching American Sign Language in Seminole County. There's just a couple of short things I want to say. As a veteran teacher and speaking for many veteran teachers I've spoken with, we're very disappointed that after 10, 15, 20 plus years we'll be earning the same pay or close to the same pay as a first-year teacher. To us, this means that our experience, expertise, and dedication to our students is worth nothing. Secondly, there would be more teachers here tonight, but they're all exhausted and still working after contract hours. Tonight, I chose my profession over my family once again because this is important. Your teachers are important, and we are exhausted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Janessa Hartman. I've been teaching for Seminole County Public Schools for 4 years. Tonight, I have worked up the courage to come up to the front to speak on the state of my working conditions at SCPS, and specifically about agenda item AH on consideration for mandatory face masks. This year, I find myself working on site more hours than any other years in my 4 years of teaching, which I do not expect outside of a pandemic. But I am teaching 2 sets of lessons to teach 2 different modalities for my students, and I find this year out of any other year, I feel less success with my students, and my students feel less success with this school year. I'm struggling to communicate with my students face-to-face and through Connect during school hours, which has led me to work outside of contract hours. I am overloaded, I am stressed, and I see it in my students as well. And moreover, when I'm thinking about the safety of my students, I'm also thinking about the mental health of my students, but I'm also concerned about my safety and my mental health. I am working well over the 35 hours I'm contracted to work in order to complete merely the bare minimum. I'm working after school on hours, I'm working weekends, I'm not sleeping until 2 o'clock in the morning to wake up at 5 o'clock for a high school year. By the way, I'm teaching chemistry at high school for grades 10 through 12. With so many hours spent at school, I believe that face coverings should be mandatory and that they should be held for all students who are face-to-face. Holding the same standards for face-to-face students as well as my Connect students is important, and I find that with Connect, they are not having the same expectations. And it has become increasingly more difficult to teach them to the standards that I know that Seminole County Public Schools expects of me. I feel that there needs to be some sort of relief for this workload, relief for the students who are facing testing conditions even in these extraordinary times. And I really do believe that there needs to be a change. Something needs to happen. But I really do urge you to encourage, even through phase 3, making face coverings mandatory. Where things are changing, the safety of my students and the safety of your employees are important. Finding that we are not having enough staff just to teach the students that we have, you cannot afford to lose another teacher as a result of health. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes public comment. Item 5J is asking if a board member wants to sit on the committee for invitation to negotiate for E-rate consulting. Abby, are you?
I'm interested in that. It sounds really fascinating.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I learned a little bit about it the other day.
Thank you. Dr. Griffin, do you have a recommendation on the consent agenda?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. My recommendation is that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. No items removed for separate consideration. No student discipline hearings. No unfinished business. Dr. Griffin, do you have any new business?
Yes, we do. For the first time, I'd like to ask Captain Francis to come up, brief us, and then I'll read my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Griffin. Madam Chair, school board members, and superintendent, as you are well aware, the Seminole County Sheriff's Office has been responsible for school safety for the past 4 years. Being responsible for school safety and our most vulnerable is a tremendous honor and a responsibility we take very seriously. We've been incredibly blessed to have unwavering support from the school board of Seminole County, the superintendent, school executives, SCPS staff, the sheriff, and other key stakeholders. Each year, I'm responsible for submitting the Florida Safe School District Best Practice Assessment to the Department of Education. As discussed in my executive summary provided to each school board member, the Office of School Safety and Security would like to recommend the following to the school board of Seminole County. Number one, continue to support outside funding sources to reduce the school safety funding gaps. Number two, continue with our school hardening 5-year safety plan, which was initiated in June of 2018. Number three, continue to support legislative priorities to help correct shortcomings in school safety laws and/or new safety bills to help safeguard our students, staff, and property. Number four, continue to provide school resource officers and mental health professionals to all of our campuses. 5, continue our proactive posture with school safety and the use of advanced school safety technology. And lastly, continue our holistic approach to school safety and security. As part of the FSAT, I plan to submit the following recommendations to the Department of Education to consider recommending to the governor, Florida legislator, and the State Board of Education regarding policy changes or funding needed to facilitate continued school safety planning, improvement, and response to the state and district levels. 1, aggressively fund school hardening efforts to help reduce the enormous funding gap. 2, change the law to lower the required monthly fire and emergency drills. And lastly, provide sustained funding for school safety technology. Madam Chair, I request the school board approve my recommendation as presented.
Thank you, Captain.
Okay, board members, my recommendation is that the school board of Seminole County accepts the recommendation of the school safety specialist and authorize the required submission of the information required by statute 1006.07 subsection 6 Florida statute to the Office of Safe Schools.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions for Captain Francis? Thank you, Captain Francis. Appreciate you very much. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Dr. Griffin, you have a report?
Second item of new business is that the school board of Seminole County approved the superintendent's search brochure, print advertisement, search committee task, and revised template timeline as presented.
Thank you. Motion? We need a motion.
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, my report are read-only items. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. Board members, if you have anything that you'd like to report on, Vice Chair Pennock?
Just 2 things. Thank you again for everybody coming out to Golf for Education yesterday. The foundation was able to raise more than $80,000 to help support our classrooms, our students, and our teachers, so that's greatly appreciated. And our Public School Facility Planning Committee is meeting November 5th to keep moving the interlocal agreement forward. We've had some minor modifications with the legal counsel from the cities and the county, not hold up by our legal counsel. I wanted to make that clarification from the last meeting. So we hope to have an agreement November, December at the latest.
Thank you. Dr. Calderon.
The Seminole Chamber, during our last event, gave an award to Senator Simmons, who, as you know, is termed out, but we wanted to say a professional, proper thank you for his support of education in our community here in Seminole County. And also on Friday afternoon, Markham Woods Middle School held a ceremony of the Markham Memorial Magnolia that this board approved a few months ago to have that dedication occur, and that was to honor all of the family members who have lost loved ones to the COVID. And today, Seminole State College conducted their annual convocation, and I'm excited to look at new partnerships even into the future between Seminole State College and Seminole County Public Schools, as the college hopes to focus more on student success in the transition from the K-12 system into the state college system, and make sure that every single student entering that college has a vision for where they're going to conclude and graduate on time. So thank you.
Thank you. Member Sanchez.
First of all, Arts Alive is going to be November 14th. It will be virtual this year, our first one out of the 24 years that we've had it. Audition applications are due by October 7th, which is in about a week and a half. So we need dancers, musicians, performers, anything like that. You have to turn in your audition tape. Everything is online on the foundation page, or if you scroll on the Seminole County Public School website, you will see that and see all the different variety of entertainments that we could use, solos, duets, groups of all different types of genre, and just want everybody to really know that we could use if anybody has any contacts with restaurants or anything that they're selling that would like to donate a charity basket for Arts Alive, that would be awesome, because it goes to our our arts programs in our schools, and of course we always could use your donation and help. Our Central Florida School Board Coalition meetings have not been happening right now. We're on hold, and thank you, Christine, for going to one that was not there. Sorry about that. She was my backup. I couldn't go. And like Dr. Calderon said about the Markham Memorial Garden, that was absolutely beautiful, and we placed rocks under the tree, and it was just magnificent. Also, I know this might not be the proper time, but I do want to see if Mr. Russi could discuss how many students, or find out later for me so we can get this out to teachers and find out how many teachers have retired, personally left early, or have just quit because of everything that's going on right now. I don't know if this would be the time, or if we want to just get the numbers later, or...
I doubt Mr. Russi has those with him, but we can get those for you.
Okay, well, he's walking up, so I don't need that now.
You can address leave, at least.
Yeah.
We did look at the information previously regarding leaves, and I shared that with the association at that time. You know, we compared this year with last year. Leaves were basically the same. They really weren't. There wasn't any significant difference. As far as the number of people that retired, I can get you the actual numbers, but again, we didn't see a significant difference. We did look at that previously a month or so ago, but I can get you those numbers on both.
Thank you. And the leave, how many took a leave of absence for the remainder of the year? I would love to know that. And if we could possibly do a survey like we've done in the past, where we could find out maybe why they left and what's going on, so we can make sure everybody gets what they need.
I'm not sure. What I can tell you is what's in PeopleSoft, the reason for the leave. There's a variety of different reasons. There's action codes that are in there.
Right.
The specific reason that a person chose to take a personal leave may not be designated in there. We did grant leaves different than we have in the past, where this year pretty much anyone who requested a leave because they were concerned regarding COVID, we didn't question it. So anybody that requested it, we just granted any leave that was really requested for the year.
Thank you. I'm curious to see how many have left since school has started as well.
I'll work on getting you those numbers.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Member Krause?
Thank you. Guests, I want to first acknowledge and thank you all for being here. We need to hear your voices because we don't always see it. We're not visiting the schools quite like we used to, and I think it's so important that we hear you. I wanted to be celebrating today because we have a tentative agreement on salaries, but I almost feel like I need to give you an apology for our veteran teachers. And we got to do better. We've got to elect people that understand and appreciate and pay you accordingly. So that was my first comment. Thank you for being here. I attended the Children's Cabinet and we covered implicit bias. We had a whole presentation which was very eye-opening. There is a free test you can do online, the Harvard study on implicit bias, and it's very eye-opening. I encourage you to do that. The CAF is working on the Child Abuse Prevention Task Force. That was their emphasis. We visited 2 schools, Dr. Griffin and I, Evans Elementary and Walker Elementary. Evans got the new security entrance, which is fabulous. It's, I think, our goal for many of the schools is certainly the round schools, and I look forward to getting that accomplished. Thank you, Captain Francis. To all of you, thank you. Thank you for walking this walk with us. We know we need to make some improvements, but I thank you for coming out and sharing with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayors and managers, the Board of County Commission Chair Zembauer and the County Manager, Ms. Scalette, gave an overview of the CARES Act money. They're sharing the money with all the municipalities, the school board, small business, nonprofits, and individuals. They had only received about 25% of the dollars in hand. So while they were willing to start approving and distributing money, they didn't want to distribute before they had the money in their account. They have hired a consultant to help them because it's very labor intensive. The Hispanic Task Force met for the first time for me last night, and it's gone on, what, 9 years, 10 years or more? They have Latinos in action in many of our high schools. They've been in existence for 4 years, and it's a very, very impressive group of student leaders. They're very much engaged in the schools and in other schools, helping other students and in the community. A couple of them said, you know, we're working toward being leaders, but it was quite evident they already are leaders on their campus. I got to visit Casbury Elementary and South Seminole Middle School today with Dr. Griffin. We're only staying within our districts right now to limit the disruption in the schools. And it was very heartwarming how much they appreciate Dr. Griffin, but I wasn't the only one crying when they did a clap out for him at the elementary school, and then they interviewed him at the middle school, and then a ton of people did a poem for him, and they had clips going on and off, and it was really, really awesome. Going to be tough to replace. Is there anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn? Ms. Beeman?
Yes. Board members, I am in need of advice concerning pending litigation against the school board, and as such, I'm requesting an executive session to be held on October 13th at 12:30, and for the following 4 cases. 1, Rivera versus School Board, case number 2019 CA 003080. 2, Diaz versus School Board, case number 2020 CA 000486. 3, King versus School Board, case number 2020 CA 001286. And Crescente versus School Board, case number 2020 CA 001067. And again, that is for October 13th at 12:30.
Thank you. Ms. Marimas, have you marked our calendars?
Yes, it's
awesome. Thank you. Anything else?
Could I just acknowledge someone that came in late? My good friend Patricia Sigmund is here, and I just wanted to say hello to her. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Thank you.
With no further business, we stand adjourned.
Thank you.